Hey guys, I hope you're good. Welcome to the Coolest Chess podcast. Today I'm with Teresi to discuss about Enzo Maresca. He done some research about Enzo Maresca, so he's going to give us all the details, the good things, the bad things, everything that he knows about Enzo Maresca. So Jerry, welcome. How are you?
Hello to Beho. Hello everyone to the coolest Chelsea podcast, the fastest growing podcast in the Chelsea community. Thank you to Beho for having me for this historic podcast on Sir Enzo Maresca, the new head coach of Chelsea Football Club. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, appreciate it, Jerry. Let's get into it, right? Since you're drinking coffee, I know you got all the energy. So let's kickstart things right about Enzo Maresca's history as a player. What do you know about it?
So Enzo Maresca, as we can, of course, have done our homework, everyone can see, of course, his playing days. But of course, because we are starting from his playing days, we will then primarily talk on his coaching. So Maresca, of course, started in the championship with West Brom, right? And then his big break was with Juventus in 2000 to 2004. So he was primarily a defensive midfielder who later also played in advanced positions. As a player, to be very honest, he was not a very special player. He was a decent player, relentless, known for relentless hard work, hard tackling. But he didn't make the Italian team, right? International team. And with Juventus also, he only appeared in 37 games in 4 years. So that was his, you can say, highlight of his career as a player. He was a decent player, not special, not known for anything that is stand out, to be very honest. Although we would have loved to say that, but this is the reality. He was a okay player. He was a, you can say, impact player, and that was the only big club that he had. But because he was never a regular, he was never was given a favor. You can see 37 games in 4 seasons, which is very less, right? So he failed to create an impact as a player at Juventus, and then later on from that time till 2017, I believe, when he retired, right? He was always in the mid to lower tier clubs in Italy. So as a player, yes, it's a big achievement because not everyone can play professional football. He played professional football, but his highlight, as I said, was with Juventus. He had a couple of good games. I think he was man of the match twice, right? So much to you can say research for someone. No one anticipated a week or 8 days ago that he'll be our coach. So and the games, some of his games, I saw like it, a good hard tackling footballer, but did not succeed to go to the next level. But again, that doesn't mean that it has anything to do with his coaching, because we all know that not every coach, in fact, not most of the coaches, if we see the very successful coaches, were not great players. So but because you asked me to give a highlight, to give a historic perspective of his career, so he was a midfielder, and his highlight was 4 years with Juventus.
Yeah, appreciate it, Jerry. So translating into coaching, how did Enzo Maresca get started and led him led him into Manchester City LEDS coaching in 2021? I mean, in 2020 and 2021 season.
Yes. So his first breakthrough was in 2000-2001 season, but that was in EDS, that is Elite Developmental Squad, where he worked with the likes of Romeo Lavia, Cole Palmer. So that's good for his CV to start with, right? But so people always think that what we are looking in different channels, they are just saying that he worked with Pep. No, that was later. That was just last year. I mean, before last season, 2000 and 2001 season, 4 years ago, he was as a coach of EDS, which is, as I said, Elite Development Squad, which is the squad that works with the academy lad, right? Which is the academy development. As I said, the two highlights. Of course, he worked with other players over there, but the prominent names were Cole Palmer and Romeo Lavia, and he was successful. This is a league that, if people don't know, it depends on each club that they have also their league, right? And he won the league as well. He got them promoted, and at that time it was a breakthrough season, as I have said, and I'm sure most of the fans know of Romeo Lavia and Cole Palmer. So he has been, you can say, instrumental, especially for Cole Palmer in his breakthrough to eventually be a regular at academy and then to be hired by Manchester City. So that was his breakthrough. But then after that, he left soon. He didn't continue. He left and went to Parma.
Yeah, let's get into Parma, right? Enzo Maresca's next step was with Parma. What was his time there like?
Yes, so I'll say, unfortunately, of course, his time was not good at all at Parma. And you can say it was a complete failure. He didn't get along with the board. The players didn't buy into his philosophy. And the results were very, very bad, with the win percentage of approximately 30 odd something. And he was sacked in 4 months. So his style, because perhaps he was trying to do the possession-based philosophy, it didn't work because we can understand it's not always easy to go, especially in Italy, and implement that style, right? So the players were not well equipped. The senior players complained to the management. So no one was on board with Enzo Maresca, and the senior management asked him to change his ways. So he had a big fallout. So it's kind of a dark mark in his short tenure as a coach. So it really didn't work out. So if anything, I mean, it's a very short career, right? Which we are discussing over here, and then we will discuss in detail his work at City and Leicester is two years. But in Italy, he failed. He failed. He failed to make an impact. The games were awful, and they leaked a lot of goals, and they couldn't buy into his philosophy. The players, the dressing room was split, and eventually he was sacked in 4 months. So it was, unfortunately, because he's our coach. So I'll say, unfortunately, it was a failure. But you always learn from the failure. You always have bad moments as well.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jerry. I always say this: failure doesn't define you as a person. So sometimes you have to fail in order to be a better person. So let's move into the next question, right? Moving into his successful success at the City, how did Maresca lead the team to win the championship?
You mean with Leicester City, right? But before that, he was working with Pep Guardiola. Just to give the context, because we are starting from his playing days, then his time as an EDS coach with Man City, then going to Italy with Parma, and then he came back in 2022-2023 treble winning season as a number two for Pep Guardiola, right? And then, of course, his run with Leicester City was last year. So 2022-2023 was his highlight, I would say, of his career when he worked. It's a big highlight, which we have to be real, and we have to acknowledge that. As an assistant coach, same like Arteta, he was there and worked under Pep Guardiola. And there have been very good feedbacks, especially Jack Grealish, Rodri. They have been very close to him, and they said that he has impacted their games. He was very tactical, and he was always learning from Guardiola. I know a lot of people, if I give any example, people will say Guardiola always praise everyone, right? So this won't be taken seriously. The Chelsea fans will say Guardiola always praise everyone. He said Lampard is a great coach. Chelsea should stick with Lampard. He said it will be a mistake to sack Graham Potter. And he was always very high on Mauricio Pochettino. And he said that, I remember he said before playing Chelsea that Chelsea is the most difficult team or something like that. Or Chelsea is already doing, when we were mid-table, Guardiola said that Chelsea are doing amazing, right? So I just wanted to say that. So if I try to use his words for Maresca, then fans will not buy it. I know that because Guardiola. But anyway, so he worked with him. He has, as I said, with Rodri, with Grealish. They have already said during that season in the press, because we did not know, because we don't know about upcoming managers. Not no one, and it's not a shame. No one knows. So everyone did their research on Enzo Maresca, right? Because someone who is new, who worked with Parma, who worked in the background, and people don't know what EDS is, right? So we all did our research. So yes, he was there. I know a few people knew about him, but because he was there just for 1 year under Pep, so it was always Pep. He was not impactful like an Arteta, a big player from coming from Arsenal. So people didn't know about him, but I have to give him credit that he worked with him. Of course, I mean, people also write in his resume that he won the treble. Yes, that's true. But as a number two, I don't want to take anything away from his success. But I, as an analyst, want to go deep and for people to understand that City was almost invincible. I know they didn't win the Champions League. This was the first time they won the Champions League. But before that, for the last 6, 7, 8 years, they were, with invincible mean, the best team. No one can deny that, the best team in England, in Europe, right? The way they dominate the league. So City were already there. So it's not that Maresca came and then all of a sudden they won the treble, right? So I'm sure you understand what I'm saying. I'm sure the audience understand. It's more than that he, as an assistant, won the treble. The most important thing over here is that everyone, no one, I mean, no matter who he or she is, if you spend 1 year with Guardiola in the training ground, in the room, in the tactical board, in the speech, while setting the team, while discussing the analytics, you learn. I cannot say you won't learn for 1 year. It will, right? I'm sure the most important thing to get out of it that he learned, right? And also he was instrumental from February till the later stages of the season. Guardiola said in Daily Mail or Telegraph, sorry, it's so difficult to remember each thing, you know, when you're discussing a new coach with the lesser spotlight and history, either these two newspaper, he said that he trusted him after 6 months with him together, that he asked him to conduct the training sessions when they were in the knockout of the Champions League. So this is a highlight. So I'm trying to, with my research, go and look into all these aspects. But then after this season, Leicester City approached him, to your question. So I was trying to give this perspective because to me, more than winning the championship, the highlight was working with, at least to me, working with Guardiola as an assistant in the treble winning season, because he learned there, right? I think he learned everything there. And then he got the opportunity he was offered by Leicester City to be a head coach, and it was a great opportunity for him to be a head coach. But Guardiola, I mean, everyone can analyze what I'm saying. It's subjective. Guardiola didn't hesitate to let him go. Guardiola didn't like say that you should stay or I want you. When Maresca told Guardiola that, hey, I have an offer and I think I want to go and be a head coach. So Guardiola said, sure, you can leave. So Guardiola didn't sweat on it, right? So but again, Guardiola also allowed Arteta, right, to go pursue your dreams. So as I said, it's subjective. Some people can say he was not important for Guardiola, so Guardiola said, okay, the team is ready. You were here for 1 year. If you want to go, you can go. But what I understand from this, that was his highlight. As a player, of course, he had a average or decent career. Then he learned, of course, did his badges, all the levels to become a professional coach. Then he was EDS with Man City development, right? Elite development squad. Worked with Palmer, worked with Lavia, and did very well over there. Got an opportunity at Parma, where he, as I said, didn't succeed. But eventually, there was something about him, right? That Manchester City. No, I'm trying to recap. I see many analysis, but they talk so quick. This is it. This is how he said. He has an inverted back, and that's it. You do this, you put Reece James here, and that's it. I mean, what kind? I've seen all the analysis. I'm not impressed at all. The only thing we could add into the audience, we are working on it. Of course, we have careers and we don't want to just put pictures, graphics. We will have try to have that. It would have been great to put all the analytics. So I just wanted to tell the audience that right now we believe that our not trying to be arrogant, but our research is good enough to present you. But for sure, in future, I think we to Beho talk behind the scenes that we would like to incorporate a lot of analytics and stuff so people can well understand everything. But I'm trying my best to explain. So to Beho, if you, I would, we can continue then to Leicester City. I would also like to ask you, don't you think so? Look, with his very short coaching career as an EDS, with 4 months at Parma getting sacked, Manchester City won't call you as an assistant. Look, I'm trying to be very objective. If they call you to work as a number two, not just a part of the 8-man, 6-man coaching staff, but a number two, you understand, right? Like Arteta. So I'm sure there must be something. What do you think about that? Man City won't call someone just like that, right? To me, it shows that there is something about this guy that Man City called him because he didn't have a resume to impress. But still, Man City gave a chance. So what do you think about that?
I agree with you. No one will work with Pep Guardiola and unless he see the potential in you, he sees something in you. So, like you said, I don't think no one is fortunate to work with Pep Guardiola. You're the lucky one, you're the chosen one. And that means Pep saw something in Enzo Maresca. That's why he called him, or the club called him to be his number two after he's been sacked by Parma, which for him is a failure. But at the same time, Pep Guardiola gave him a lifeline. Come and learn from the best, and it will be the best. So that's my take.
So I believe you would like me to continue with his Leicester. You can go ahead with the question, sir.
Yeah, my question to you: what led Enzo Maresca to be successful at Leicester City by winning the championship?
I mean, first of all, it was a great opportunity to work as a head coach. No matter it's a championship, you worked as a head coach, which he didn't get the opportunity, right? He was EDS, he was, yes, at Parma, but that was a very short time and he didn't succeed. So it showed to me, first of all, that he believed in himself because he had it's not that Man City said, we don't want you. Man City didn't ask him to go or Man City didn't sack him or they thought he is a surplus to the requirement. No, it's Maresca. See, I try to be very honest, objective. I will give my personal opinion also in the end, but I'm impressed that he worked with Pep, even though he had nothing to show. Yes, EDS in his league system, training the kids with the academy to promote them. Yes, he did well. He had that resume, but he didn't have anything. And Parma, a small, I mean, with all due respect, a club that is not so established, he completely failed there. But yet, Man City called him. For sure, I mean, no one, Pep Guardiola won't put his name against anyone just like that. No one can tell me that Pep Guardiola say, okay, just call him, right? And then Man City didn't ask him to leave. This is very important. If after 1 year, even if after 30 days, if Pep is not happy, he'll ask you to leave. I'm not saying Pep is disrespectful, but Pep wants the highest quality. He won't sacrifice on quality, pedigree, consistency, progress. After 365 days or 300 days, maybe 10 months with Maresca, if it was not good enough to continue, Man City board, Pep, or anyone would have asked him, sacked him, or said him, let's part ways with mutual consent. At least that's what I think. But he got an offer from Leicester City. He went to Pep Guardiola in a very professional way. That is one thing that he's a very That's another strength that I've seen researching him, looking at his interview, reading different newspapers, looking what ex-players said, looking what Guardiola said, what Guillem Ballack said, that he connects very strongly with the people who he works with. So that is the most, for now, I'm really impressed with that. I'm very, very impressed with that, his quality. I know we'll talk on Leicester that he fell out with fans and something, but with the managers, with the media, his board at large, at least the people who resonate with him, who connect with him, they speak very highly of him, right? So no one would do this for everyone, right? Okay, so Leicester City. I'm trying to give the context, yeah. 6-7 days of sleepless nights. I just slept one day yesterday, working on Enzo. So to the audience, I was ready for Hansi Flick or De Zerbi to give the presentation as a new head coach. When Maresca was announced, I was like, man, I have to do my research from the scratch. So that's why I'm all pumped up after doing this research. I'm very proud of this research. I hope it is adding value. Of course, we will talk regularly on Maresca in the summer, but this is the research to present him on the coolest Chelsea podcast. So Leicester City, of course, and as you said when we were talking behind the scenes, and even in your live streams, you told everyone that people sometimes look down that he just won a championship, and I'm sure you follow more. Of course, I have done my research. I watched few games. That's okay, but you told me and other uh, you can say analysts told me that look, it's not a walk in the park to win the championship. People think that it's easy. So of course it's an achievement. Why should I say it's not an achievement? Especially for a new and upcoming manager who worked again in difficult situation, worked under Pep, worked in ED as an EDS, worked uh, in Parma and got sacked, and then he got an opportunity. It showed that he wants the fight, he wants the competition, right? And so in Leicester City, okay, we can say that Leicester City was always the favorite at the same time to win the championship, because 8 years ago, and I'm not trying to take anything away from Enzo Maresca, but 2016, 8 years ago, when Leicester City put stopped our ex-Spurs manager Pochettino to win the league. Leicester City won the league and they were doing good, until a year or 2 years ago. So Leicester City was favourite to win the league. And let me then talk a bit on that, and then I'm sure you will ask the formation in the next questions, right? So of course it was a success. The only downside was that they had a turbulent time after going ahead with a significant margin. They lost, they drew a lot of games. So I won't look too much into that. No. Why should we expect him to run with the league, right? Why? It's also unrealistic to expect someone to be 100%, right? It happens. And the success was that, of course, he won the league. The most important success was that he implemented his idea, his philosophy. That is the ball, that is the possession, the possession style, that he learned from Pep Guardiola. That was implemented not 100%, not completely that way, because of course he needs the personnel and the players as well, right? But his ball possession philosophy really replicated, and I'm not saying copied, but of course, because he is a disciple of Guardiola, we can see shades or highlights of the same system all over the pitch, right? Exactly what Pep Guardiola is known for, he implemented that at Leicester. When he was working before at Parma, again, I'm repeating, working in the EDS with City, he was learning with his own philosophy. Of course, at that time, he was also focusing primarily on possession. Possession-based football was very much instrumental to him. But ever since he got this experience working as an assistant coach of Guardiola, we can see the next season he implemented the same philosophy, same tactics, same strategy. And it was successful in a way that he worked with young or players who were not really, you can say, known for playing possession based, and help them integrate into that to a larger extent. So Yeah, so I can, of course, I think we have other following questions on formation tactics, so we can then talk on that, I believe. So I think season was successful. It was a proud season. He won the championship, and he implemented his philosophy, and he went through the season as a very strong coach who believed in his framework and was successful.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jerry. At the end of the day, he won the league, and the objective was to qualify to the Premier League, to be promoted into the Premier League. So I know people will complain about that, but what was the objective? To be in the Premier League, and he did that during his first season. So let's go to the next question. Can you describe Enzo Maresca's style of play or preferred formation?
Yeah, so this is interesting. His style of play is possession-based football, and which he largely encompasses a 4-2-3-1 primarily, and also 4-3-3 system. It is possession-based, which methodically builds from the back. It's a slow build-up, right? Some of the I was looking at a different analysis on the channel, and people, uh, not to be mean or to criticize any analyst, but people were quick to make their opinion. It's a possession based football. It doesn't mean a high octane fast paced football. It can be at times, but it's generally a possession based football. And what is possession based football is maintaining a high level of possession, keeping the ball, working in small pockets, and just having the retention build up slowly and gradually upfront. It doesn't mean that you go fast like a Liverpool or Pochettino. So people are mixing two things over here, right? So the tactics are you can say pretty much the, I would say, initial Pep Guardiola, from, because we know that from 2021 Pep Guardiola evolved his, overall his strategy is the same possession based, but he has evolved using back three, right, using different strategy, little bit more pragmatic in his approach. But so far Maresca is playing, you can say, the early initial years of Pep Guardiola possession based philosophy, which the games that I have seen and the different credible reviews that I have observed, and also from my own eyes, it really is a possession base, which is short, precise passes, right? People are thinking that you need to press well. This is a wrong philosophy. I disagree completely, right? Many people are thinking that Conor Gallagher, or probably we'll talk on him later when you will talk which players will do well, which won't. So we'll talk on that. So it's not a pressing system, it's a possession based system where you keep the ball, work in small pockets, right? Gradually build up, and you have to be exact on your position. The positions are well defined in that, right? And it's for this you have to be very well rehearsed. You have to be patient. At times it will be a very slow build up. It's not necessarily a very fast moving. It could be depending on the opponent, depending on how you are doing in that game. But at times it will need a lot of patience. And the positional plays are very, very important. Most important is the positional play over here. Players should know their role. You won't see a lot of long balls, or I didn't see a lot of long balls. I didn't see players out of position. Yes, there were times some people will say he played players out of position, but the players out of position, not saying that left back played as a center defender, or a winger played as a forward. You understand? Out of position means that the players should be in the position. I can give a hint, not run around like Conor Gallagher. With due, I love Gallagher. So Conor Gallagher, fluid way of running around in different spaces, it will absolutely not work in that. I'll talk on that maybe when you talk about the players. So for now, the evidence, we can only talk about the evidence. So I would like to conclude that the evidence is almost 100% that he placed a hardcore ball position football, same that you see under Pep Guardiola, shades of Xavi, shades of Barcelona, right? But it's a huge but, and of course, it's difficult for anyone to say. It's easy and it's predictable to say that he will do that. But the only question is, will he completely do the same style with Chelsea? Or to succeed at Chelsea Football Club with the amazing and mind-blowing competition and relentless competition, ruthless competition with the all the analysis he's doing right now. We are seeing the reports. He's watching Pochettino games. He's asking the head of data analytics to give him all the profile, everything, the heat map to the players, their position. So will he adapt? This is the question I have right now. Will he change? Will he be sensible enough to have a plan B or C? Or will he just apply this possession based philosophy? I'm not saying it's bad, but I know there are some questions of what I think will happen. So I'll see for that. So all I can say that many analysts have analyzed, and first of all, many analyses were wrong. They are putting it like it's a high press game. No, 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 no. Possession based football and high press football is different. I don't know where this people are getting this idea. Number two, some people think that what he has done will be done at Chelsea Football Club. I also believe that, but I think we have to see. Is he a manager who will evolve, have his own way, or he will have the same system or not? I'm not saying one is better or the other, but with what we have, we can only speak on that, right? What he'll do. So I personally believe because he has to an extent mastered this principle, and given why the board signed him, one of the main attribute that they want a possession based coach. I think he will imply his strategy, but we have to see how versatile and how innovative he is at Chelsea. That only we have to wait and see.
So, what is his preferred formation? You haven't discussed about it.
Yeah, I think I hinted that. Yeah, his preferred position is 4-2-3-1. That he largely imply. Sometimes 4-3-3. So with inverted fullbacks, right? So yeah, that's his preferred position. He has used that. Let me check the notes because I have tried to remember. I don't look at things when I talk but because this is a lot to unpack because no one has really analyzed on him uh, a week prior to that. So few things I have written down so I can be accurate and not make a mistake. With my research and using some softwares, 68.7% that I have done myself calculating his games. He has used 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, and at times he has also used a back three. People think that he didn't use a back three, he has used back three, but it's morely 4-2-3-1, and I think that will be good because Poch also used. But again, look, this is different. People are saying that Poch used 4-2-3-1, he used 4-2-3. It's a natural, it's easy, but that is a different. This is where it is important. 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, 3-4-3 is different when it comes to the way you set up the team. Please, guys, understand that 4-2-3-1 of Ten Hag, 4-2-3-1 of Pochettino, 4-2-3-1 of Tuchel, 4-2-3-1 of Enzo Maresca, 4-2-3-1 of Xavi are different. It depends. Are they playing a possession-based football? Are they playing high-line, high-intensity football like Pochettino? Quick movement, not retaining the ball. You know how Pochettino plays. Have the ball, run the fullbacks, go try to quickly pass, and try to attack. It's still 4-2-3-1, as people say, basketball or impactful or very robust, like a Liverpool, have the ball, quick transition. Liverpool don't keep the ball. The keep the ball means keeping the ball. Short passes, just like Man City developing, right? With this inverted fullbacks, with Stones playing, from the back, then Rodri, then passing it on the left, trying to build slowly, and everyone moves together. Pochettino, Liverpool is 4-3-3, but Poch 4-2-3-1 is different. When you have the ball, you also build from the back, but you quickly then try to, whenever you find the area, you have a long ball. You try to pass it either from the middle or from the side, and you quickly run. You don't necessarily, and many times you don't maintain your position at Pochettino system. Even at Tottenham, when things were fabulous, it's not that players have to be on at their exact positions. We see why Cole Palmer had the freedom at the right, tracking back, linked up in the midfield, and sometimes in the middle. You won't see that in position based or Guardiola, Xavi, or Enzo Maresca system. So 4-2-3-1 is just a setup. Then how you use that 4-2-3-1 or 3-4-3 or 4-4-2, 4-1-4-1. So this is something I wanted to say to people. People just think, oh, it's 4-2-3-1. I see many analysts, some very good analysts. They are good analysts, but they said, oh, it's an easy transition for the players because he also plays a 4-2-3-1. Enzo Maresca's style and Poch's style is night and day. It's different. It's different. It's completely different. It's not the same. If it's the same, Pochettino would be here. Pochettino won't be replaced. Gallagher is perfect for Pochettino, and Gallagher could be a good player if he adapts. But for now, as we'll talk again, I know him is not a player for this system, not at all. So yeah, so this is a strategy. And one more thing is important: when he even plays a 4 or 3, the goalkeeper sometimes, because it builds from the back, they have short spaces, and for that sometimes, because to quickly uh, take advantage of the midfield of the opponents, the goalkeeper sometimes plays as a center back. That is very, you can say, innovative in his system. So you will see the goalkeeper needs to be excellent with his feet. Excellent. And that's why I think Emi Martinez is perhaps out of question, who I think is a top 3, top 5 goalkeeper in the world. But and we have to also talk on that. I mean, not in this stream. This is important in future live shows. And the goalkeeper is like a central defender in this system. He needs to be really good with the feet. So this is Enzo Maresca, a trademark traditional possession-based football, which is very good. We have always loved Barcelona, right? I mean, I'm not saying we supported. We loved how Barcelona, the peak Barcelona played. We don't love City, but we love Guardiola and his. So this is what he can bring. That is interesting. But that does not necessarily mean having the same system or being fast. It depends. Like, as you can see with Guardiola's Barcelona or City, it does not mean if City and Liverpool plays, you know that Liverpool is a team who is fast. So if you are expecting a very fast, high octane football, you might be disappointed, because at times with the possession-based football, you really need to build very, very slowly. The whole philosophy is to keep the ball, no matter it will take time to penetrate, to slowly and gradually frustrate the opponent and have them make the wrong move. This is the concept. When you saw prime Lionel Messi, Xavi, that was well rehearsed play out of extraordinary players. It can be fast, it can be slow. Expect a lot of slow football in some of the games. That's what I'll say. So this is his philosophy. This is his strategy, which is interesting, which will be something new and fresh for the Chelsea fans and the Chelsea players. Man, this is Enzo Maresca for you.
Also, Jerry, what challenges did Enzo Maresca face during the season, and how did he overcome those challenges?
Enzo Maresca faced a few challenges in his time at Leicester City, because we all know that life is not a bed of roses. It is full of challenges, no matter how good it is, how matter how successful it is. So the first challenge he faced was at a time in December, January, a backlash from his own fans, who said that he don't have a plan B. And what I was referring to in my analysis of his tactics formation, I mean his ball possession, style of play, uh, that sometimes the fans said that give it away. It's on Daily Mail, BBC, and there are some interviews as well of the Leicester City fans. And that was also done in one of the press conferences that I forget which one. So, but it's there, it's documented. And the Leicester City fans all know about that they were tired at a time, that they were like, it's very slow. What I was referring to, a slow build up, keeping the balls for 7-8 minutes with 60, 70, 80 passes, and just not able to go through. You understand what I'm saying? So at times they thought that we need more attract. Although as I said, I don't want to repeat many times, but because people are not getting it, it can be on its day the most attractive football, right? Tubeho, I'm sure you know a lot about it, but at times it can be the most boring and frustrating football. This is possession-based football for you, right? So the fans were very tired that they are keeping the possession and making the build-up very slow, and they questioned. The fans said on the forum, the fans said on the on the Talk Sport Talk. Yes, you can go and search. There were complaints, and there were so many complaints that even this was asked to Enzo Maresca in a press conference. That day, I forgot which one. It's difficult to remember, sorry, each and everything. But I'm giving you all the perspective and all the situation and the challenges that he has. So Enzo Maresca was asked about that. So he said that no, he, and I'm paraphrasing, of course, I'm not quoting him, that he believes in what he's doing. He thinks he's doing the right things, and he will stick to that. He won't change, and the fans needs to be patient with it. So he showed a strong, you can say, character. He showed a strong, you can say, he showed faith in his principles, and eventually that worked. But at the same time, there not a lot, but a few fans fell out, that they felt that he didn't connect with us. The way he answered, it's not that he showed any connection or any, you can say, love or loyalty to the fans. He could have said that in another way. So the fans thought, because you know how fans are, we are Chelsea fans, no one knows better than us. So, and I know when he was signed, you said in one of your tweets that I hope he can build the bond and the love with the Chelsea fans that Poch and Potter couldn't do. So I'm not saying that he cannot. Leicester City fans, in fact, love him. This is wrong. I say a lot of Chelsea fans, or even opposite, our you can say rival fans like Mark Goldbridge are saying that Leicester City fans wanted to get rid of him. No, 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 no. It's they, you know that, right? You have talked to them as well. Largely, I mean, they are different people. Everyone will have their own opinion. They appreciate him, but it's normal when you will talk to Leicester City fans at a time when the manager or the coach has left. They will naturally not show that much excitement. You understand what I'm saying, right? So the fallout was for a period when he was a little bit, you can say, mean or a little bit arrogant, whatever word you want to use, in his press conference, that he did not entertain the fans. He did not say to anything to the fans that they felt. But at the end of the day, he took them back to the promotion to the Premier League, the best league in the history of the world, the best league that will always be until the world ends. If it ends, it will be English Premier League, right? And he won the Premier League. That was one challenge. The other challenge was that he fell with some of his players for a short while when he asked, I forgot the name, sorry about that, one of his wingers, that he is not keeping the ball, retaining the ball for a long time. The player would dribble, would like to be innovative, would like to do different things. So that was a challenge. So we can say that he really believes in possession-based football. He told his winger, I think it's Harry or something. So, anyways, so the thing is that he believed in that wing, not Harry Winks. He believed in his. I'll try to find the name as we speak, and I'll share in a while. So, anyways, name is not important. The most important thing is to know that he had this challenge that even players from Championship questioned him, or that why you are not allowing me to be like a Michael Ollies on the wing. Are you getting my point, right? So it won't be that easy for Ollies to come here, and if he has to really adapt to it, because we know the attributes of Ollies. I'm not saying that it's not going to work. My point is that Maresca is hands-on. If it does not fit his style, he will tell the player to fit in my system. Even if the player think him dribbling or him being a little fancy or trying to be flamboyant, can be good. But no, Maresca and some of the players had a discussion. So not necessarily he had a good relationship with the staff, because they challenge his tactics. But at the end of the day, of course, they listened to him, and he was able to convince them that this is the way moving forward. So these are some of the challenges that he faced, and anyone can then, you can say, comprehend what I said, how it will be at Chelsea. Personally, I think there are signs that it will be challenging for him at Chelsea. When he was questioned, or he was asked by some of the players to innovate, or let them have more freedom on the pitch, coming to the best league in the world, to the biggest club in the world, Chelsea Football Club, there could be questions if the results don't go his way. I'm just saying that players might ask, who are used to a lot of freedom on the pitch, who have different attributes. So I'm not saying that it will be challenging or it will be difficult for him, but what you asked me of his time at Leicester City, he did face challenges, but he overcame and he succeeded. So we don't know. Again, this is in unknown, uncharted territory. Premier League, Chelsea Football Club, the pressure of the media and the fans. So I'm sure when he is recruited by the sporting directors, I am sure that behind the scenes, the sporting directors had or will have a talk with the players. This is the philosophy. This is why we have him. This is the plan. So I'm sure if everything is well communicated, because communication is the key, then I'm sure that they will listen and abide by that. So, but the thing is, we know there have been situations when he was challenged, he was questioned by the fans, he was questioned by the players, but he overcame that, showing strong personality.
So, Jerry, is Enzo Maresca considered a good fit for Chelsea?
That's the most difficult question you have asked, and you have put me on the spot, to be. You have put me on the spot. I don't know what to say. Do you want me to say what I want to say?
Bro, everyone have a right to raise his opinion. So, uh, say whatever you want to say.
Look, I am excited. I have done this research, which I'm sharing, of course, for the last 45 to 50 minutes. It had made it made me excited. It had made me optimistic. I'm not completely sold. I'm not completely. Look, I'm a Chelsea fan, right? I always want Chelsea to win, always, every single day. But I'm talking here as an analyst, not as a Chelsea fan. Whenever I am on different channels or analyzing, I don't put my Chelsea. I don't have a hat. I was trying to put a hat. I don't want to put a Chelsea hat. If I put a Chelsea hat or a Chelsea cap to analyze, then it will be very biased. You understand? I try to be neutral when I analyze. So to answer that, I know it's early days, but I always try to give my opinion, and I don't shy, to give my opinion. I think he's a good fit in the context of being a good fit for the board and the sporting directors. I know it's a very unpopular thing that I have said over here. I know I have said a very unpopular thing, but I'm being very honest. Look, I could be wrong, but this is what I think. In this way, and I'm not saying in a bad way, in this way, let me explain what I mean. In this way that he fits, it's not what I'm saying is not always bad, but I'm saying, let me explain. He's a good fit for Chelsea football, this board and the owners and this framework, because we know football has evolved. We all know that, right? Sometimes we don't accept that the modern way, which is already there and now it is really being implemented, is that you have the structure, you have the board, then you have the sporting directors, and then the coach. The managers are now more of a head coach, right? So they won't be really involved as much as some people are still thinking, oh, does Maresca want Sesko, does Maresca want this goalkeeper? I'm sure they talk, but he won't be. Come on, man, come on. He won't be involved at all, at all. He might be asked, He might be given 3, 4 options, but he won't really have a say. It's This is the way moving forward. If someone don't know, please do your research. This is the way moving forward. So he won't challenge the hierarchy or what they assume by the interview. He won't. He will abide. And I'm not saying it in a wrong way. Come on, I'm not saying it in the wrong way. The thing is that he ticked the box that this is a head coach who understands the modern footballing landscape, the framework. He knows that we have recruited on the youth. He knows that this is the philosophy moving forward 2, 3, 5, 6, 7 years. He knows that we will sign a certain profile. He knows that this 90 to 95%, this is the way moving forward. There might be a room to have a different kind of a player. So in the interview, he understood and he agreed to that. I'm not saying that is the only reason that they went for him, but in that way, he is a good, very good fit for Chelsea Football Club. Apart from that, so he can work in the modern framework. He can fit in. He won't disrupt the institute. He won't. Not only that, but he would understand. This is one thing, and the other thing is he perfectly understand that this is what he has. This is what he needs to do to succeed, and this is the furniture, the assets, the tools that he has to succeed. So he knows it very well. Then let's say a Pochettino who for sure wanted something different. We know why he left. It was not because he finished sixth. I'm sure that it's not the reason why Poch left. I know there are other reasons as well, but we don't know 100%, but there are very strong reports that he asked that Gallagher should stay, or he asked some change in the model. Was he sacked? Did they part way with consent? No one knows, but the board don't want anyone to come and interfere. And I'm again saying it's not necessarily a wrong thing. They have invested more than $1 billion. Come on, I'm saying it in a positive way. They want someone. Look, if we invest even a little bit money, we want someone to take care of what we want to do, right? If someone has invested 1 billion on so many players, paid world record fee of Enzo Fernandez in January 2023, in the same year, August, broke the world record fee. I mean, sorry, British world record fee, British transfer world record fee, not the world that is for Neymar's and Mbappe's of this world. So sorry. So broke the British record fee January 2023 for Enzo Fernandez. Broke the English British record fee in August 2023 for Caicedo. They want someone to come and understand. Pochettino, for sure, we know the Enzo Caicedo mix was not a good mix for him. There are many other problems that Poch had with the system, and they wanted a coach who plays possession-based football, and of course, his time with Pep Guardiola is a standout time. It stands out, which they looked into. This is the most selling, you can say, thing on his CV. And of course, a 1 year experience, though in the championship, but as a head coach with Leicester City. So he ticks so many boxes in that sense. A new upcoming manager who can work in the professional modern environment with the young players with a unique possession based philosophy, with being a disciple of Guardiola. So they really expect him to be as successful and more successful than Arteta and win something over here in this project. Personally, if you say is he a good fit at Chelsea or not, the short answer he is, but the short answer is that they were better candidates than Enzo Maresca. That's to be respectful of our new head coach. We could have done well with certain other managers. That's all I can say right now.
So, Jerry, in what way can Enzo Maresca's tactic be effective in the Premier League with Chelsea next season?
Well, that's a very tough question. And to look into that, I already analyzed using softwares which we could have shared. So the success of possession-based football, apart from Guardiola, is not there in the Premier League. You tell me who has been successful with possession-based football? Not a high press football, not in high octane football, not fast moving football. not a defensive football, not a counter-attacking football, not a football with fluidity, not a football with different dynamics into that. But it's only Guardiola in the recent years. I know people won't like that, but I'm a man of analysis. Probably we'll try to share it in some other stream when we uh, go through our, you can say, our internship, because we want to only share the graphics when we know we can put the best thing out there. So I have done this personal research. This is the time I invested in the last. I know it's not a very long research, but I put 5-6 days. But the data is already there. So first of all, this style of play, according to, you can say, the trend, history, stat, and the indication, does not guarantee or does not even suggest that it will be successful or it will work. Please drop your comments in the comment section and let us know what you think. Do you do not your opinion? Do your research and tell us which manager has succeeded with this uh, approach. And I hope you understand the possession based that he plays. Again, we don't know if it will be the same, but we are, Tobeho and all the audience, we are assuming. We can assume, right? This is what we can do, that the same he will play what he played at Leicester, more or less. If he change everything, if he is very innovative, if he is dynamic like Julian Nagelsmann, Germany, keep an eye on Germany, Euro 2024. We'll do a prediction on who will win the Euro 2024. So the thing, I'm not trying to be negative. What I'm trying to say and what is success? Success for Tobeho, for you, might be different to a success for a beautiful flower over here, to a success for a certain fan, to a success for a certain human being, to a success for a certain ex-player or ex-analyst or a current analyst. For me, success is winning the Premier League or the Champions League. Yes, that's success for me. I know I'm not compromising on. I'm not saying the first year. I'm not saying in the first year, but eventually in 3-4 years, right? So if that's the success, then I think it won't be a success under Enzo Maresca. I think Enzo Maresca. Look, I would love that I'm wrong over here, because I've been right so many times. I'm not trying to be arrogant. People who know me in the community for 1 year, but the people who personally know me for 20 years, I don't want to even say what I have done or how I have been, and sometimes I don't even know how I'm right so many times. I hope I'm wrong, because if I am, sometimes it's okay to be wrong. That's all I can say. So the thing is that playing this way, okay, now let me explain, because until unless I don't explain, it's not me. I don't want to say something without explaining. Look, as I said, in the last 20-25 years, if you go back even, this strategy in the Premier League only worked with Pep Guardiola. If someone thinks Arteta plays Guardiola style, they are wrong. Initially, he did. His style is completely different than Pep Guardiola. So do your research. He's a disciple of Guardiola with his own way. Very, very adaptable, very flexible in his approach. Yes, there are shades. There are a lot of things similar, but he has a very different approach. So the thing is, if he really needs to do that, he needs to be really good at that. Can he be sure? It will take time. I think it will take time with this blend of football. In my honest opinion, in my honest research, in my analysis, I hope I am wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. I'm not saying he will fail. He can succeed, get a top 4, win a cup. But I'm talking next, let's say 4 years, if he's still here, will he be able to win the league or even challenge like Arteta or Klopp in the last weeks? I see it difficult at this moment, until and unless I see him play in a way that offers more than the position-based football. And why I'm saying this, look, first of all, I have already explained that this blend of football only Guardiola has been successful with. And not many coaches play this football. I know a lot of people are obsessed with this, but not many coaches play this football. It's not a style that has worked. But of course, it's a changing world, different dynamics. It might be the way moving forward. I have doubts. I think this is not the best way to play football. And yes, Guardiola is, people can say the best, or they can say with Sir Alex or Mourinho, one of the best of all time. For sure, perhaps the best of all time, I would say. Perhaps, perhaps. But but what Guardiola is doing to be successful with the same strategy, more or less, you really have to do that brilliantly. Please try to understand. To behold the audience, all the analysts, critics, please criticize me, but be objective. You really need to do this in a way, not just to compete with Guardiola, but with other teams as well on a regular basis, because it's a unique style of play, which is not. Tell me which team play this way. I don't see any team playing this way. The thing is that so many things. So I'm trying to recap where I was. Yes, when Guardiola took in 2016, Man City was already a force, right, Tobeho? They won 2 or 3 leagues, right? They were really. I'm not saying they are like today, but they were the best team in England by that time. Almost, they were with Chelsea. With Chelsea, from 2012 to 2016, they won 2 or 3 leagues, right? With Mancini, with Pellegrini, right? They had a great squad. Please try to understand, because I go deep, and that's my style. I want analysts to go deep. When you compare things, please understand. When Guardiola took City, I'm not saying City were invincible or City were the best team in the world. They had won 2, 3 leagues. They demolished Manchester United. They already had Sergio Aguero, Yaya Torres of this world, company. Tevez was there, and many other players. Right? They had many magnificent players over there. So it was a very good team. And then it took 18 months for Guardiola to make them work. A man who is the best or one of the best coaches of all time, right? No one can argue that. Even if you don't like it, come on, Tubeho. The best or the top 2, 3 of all time, right, Tubeho? Guardiola, right? Come on. At least top 3 of all time, right? Come on, man. Come on. So the thing is, he mastered that at Barcelona for years. He struggled with that at Bayern Munich. He won the league, but he wasn't really good at Bayern Munich. No. Then he struggled for 18 months. Not too much, but he struggled, trying to be a top 4, losing so many games. Had an altercation with Sergio Aguero to change his style. You remember? When he came, Sergio Aguero stopped playing, who was one of the best forwards already at that time in England. Right, Tubeho? You remember he benched Aguero because he was not playing his style. He benched a lot of players. He had an issue with Yaya Toure. Right? So I'm giving few examples. But he was a strong personality. He demanded players to play his way. He had won the treble with Barcelona, 2 times Champions League winner, coached the best player, one of the best player ever, Lionel Messi. I love Ronaldo, Messi both, but one of the best player ever, Lionel Messi. He came here. He was interviewed by what's his name? Liam Gallagher, the Oasis singer who is a huge Manchester City fan. Sir Alex said that perhaps he will struggle. There were still questions on Guardiola. I know he proved them all wrong later. So it took him a while, but he was well established. Guardiola was well rehearsed. He had that reputation of being and coaching the prime Barcelona, one of the best teams ever, with Hansi Flick's Bayern Munich, in my opinion, right? And then it took him 18 months. He fought with Aguero. He fought with Yaya Toure. I'm maybe forgetting something. I cannot remember everything that he had. He had issues. Players fought with him. But because he had the support of the board, he was a strong personality who had a huge CV. He implemented that. And he was the best at what he do. So, not trying to be negative, please. I hope you understand what Enzo Maresca has to do over here. That's all I can say with this example. What Enzo Maresca has to do with a young, very talented Chelsea Football Club team with more recruitment, but he really has to start. And he really has to develop them. The first year or two will be very important to develop Don't expect things quickly. At best, yes, he can finish 4 at best. And that will be a miracle too, I would say, to finish 4, a miracle. Implementing his strategy, if he really wants to implement this strategy, to make them rehearse. So the whole point is the team will have to rehearse in a very difficult style of play. He is not Guardiola. When Guardiola joined City, he's not getting the team that City had when Guardiola was here. It only worked for Guardiola with this system. Guardiola changed a lot. I know what he did with inverted fullbacks, going with the 3, using his pivot, in a different strategy. Sometime moving them on the right, sometime having sometime dropping deep to have a back 4, sometime having 5 players in the midfield. When he is combating a low block, all of these things. He changed a lot. We know this John Stones, how he changed his position. Sometimes playing as an advanced winger in the inverted position. So he's taking all those concepts over here, right? And we know how much time he took to make Haaland change his style, adapt to it, and he did very quickly. But Haaland never liked what Guardiola, although he scored a record, 40, 50 goals, I forgot exactly, right, in the treble winning season. But Haaland did not like what Guardiola is doing because he really had to adapt. So for this formation to work, players would need to understand with him. He needs to communicate well, have a good relationship with the players. The players need to buy into his methodology. It will take time. The next year is a rebuild. So Enzo Maresca has a lot of work to do, according to my understanding, analysis. It's a very difficult task. Can he be successful? Sure, he can be. If he will be, there will be hours of praises for him. It's a difficult task, I would say. He's joining Chelsea when we are struggling. He's joining Chelsea with a new squad. He's joining Chelsea when he has to, if really a possession-based formation, which is a very difficult formation or style of play to succeed over 38 games to win the league. There might be very good days, there might be very bad days. If you don't have a plan B, C, if you don't adapt, innovate, change the formation, use pivot in a different way, have the fullbacks play in a different way, sometimes be pragmatic, sometimes change the formation, sometimes let the opposition have the ball. In this modern era, I don't think so you will succeed. For him to succeed, he will need to be the master of what he do. Can he do that? Sure. I will never say anyone can never do anything, because I always tell everyone who talks to me, you can do it. You're better than anyone. But for Enzo Maresca to come here and to be successful in the next 4 years, to win the Premier League and Champions League, I don't see that happening. I don't.
So from what you have analyzed so far about Enzo Maresca, do you think Chelsea players can adapt very quickly into his style of play? Also, which players will mostly adapt very quickly? And another thing, which players do you think will improve under Enzo Maresca?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. So the first name that comes to my mind who will be very successful, I have done the research in the whole week, and I'm very convinced. And not a lot of analysts, when they did their research, took this name under Enzo Maresca, and I'm surprised. I'm very surprised why they didn't take his name. And the name is Moises Caicedo. Moises Caicedo will be unleashed like a beast under Enzo Maresca. If you have studied him, if you have studied his stats, if you have studied his football, especially under De Zerbi, you know that he thrives. He excels in ball retention, right? He excels in ball retention. He has a very high pass accuracy. And I believe it's only second to Rodri in the Premier League. Only second to Rodri. His ball retention, which is the most instrumental, the key element to succeed in the possession-based football. Moises Caicedo will be a huge success. His game will complement and enhance under Enzo Maresca if Enzo Maresca plays the style that we all anticipate, and for the reason that he's bought to Chelsea Football Club. But I didn't see many people taking the name Moises Caicedo. So maybe I know better or they know more than me. But it's Moises Caicedo, the man who will get the best benefit without a shadow of a doubt, because he has the second best ball retention, ball passing in the Premier League. 1 year, 2 years of data we have, right? 2 years of data, 2 years of. I'm talking, it's not my opinion. I'm talking about, I always look into all these things. So when you do your research, please try to understand. If Pochettino is not using him correctly, please understand he's an excellent player to play in pockets, in retention of the ball, quick movements. That's his attribute. And I think he can really excel, and we can really see the next level, Moises Caicedo. So I think he can, of course, it depends. A lot of players will struggle. It won't be so easy for me to go, for anyone to say, for many players. But the player that I'm very confident on is Moises Caicedo. Enzo Fernandez can also, but again, it depends the way they would integrate. Because I know that Gallagher will struggle and will eventually be sold. That's what I think. I think Enzo Fernandez will also do that, because they have to build slowly. They have to build slowly. They have to retain the position. But at the same time, Enzo plays long balls. One of his strengths of Enzo Fernandez is long passes, which will be deduced if he sticks to his plans. So I'm not sure there, but of course, Enzo Fernandez being so technically gifted, a man who can always go and play the Barca way. So I think he will play that, but he will need to not really. In fact, he'll be happy playing under Enzo Maresca than Mauricio Pochettino. With Mauricio Pochettino, he was all over the place. We know for Enzo Fernandez to work, and I'm sure most of us agree, he needs to settle in his position, right? I'm sure you will agree with that. Not being a 10 or 8, 6, or being here or there every time, which is not bad. I'm not saying, but it's Pochettino's way. It's also a modern style of playing. But Pochettino was really all over the place. Oh, that's why I was calling for his name. Pochettino disappointed. Sorry, Poch, you disappointed me. I said so much for you. So, see, so the thing is with Caicedo for sure, Mudryk, because people think Mudryk can be unleashed. People have this wrong philosophy. We always think he's a good dribbler. This is ball position football. Not everyone has to dribble. You have to retain. I have to repeat. Do your research. Retain the ball. Play quick passes in pockets. Be good in your position. Pass. Even you can take your time. What Mudryk struggled under Pochettino, that when he got the ball, he would always run, because it's so much running under Pochettino's system. And I'm not criticizing his system, but it's so much running. Where he was caught was because he would have the ball and he would completely run in the defense or the block, and he would be always caught off guard. He was trying to be flamboyant, creative, right? You don't have to do that in Enzo Maresca system. He will only have a selected players who will do that in position-based football. He will only require one or two. If you see the prime Barcelona or this City team, you don't need everyone on the wing or in the midfield to be fancy, to be fancy, to do all the fancy work. So Modric, because a lot of people have forgotten how he played in his previous club and how some of the shades we have seen, he's good in short passing. He's very good with retaining the ball. But if he has to do fanciable work, dribbling or quickly transitioning, where he struggles, that is not possession-based football. So I'm sure, and I'm not saying that he is the best component of possession-based football, no. But I'm saying that it will only add to his game. It will only facilitate Modric. It will be easier for him to integrate, because he will have to play he will have the luxury to take his time. The overall positions of the team will be clear. So Modric won't have, because he was always lost while moving forward, tracking back. He didn't know under Pochettino what his position is, exactly what his role is. And whenever he had the ball, he had to quickly run in the defensive block. He will try to dribble, he will try to shoot, and that was it. So we will only see those instances, and rest of the time Modric is always running around, tracking back. So that is not the position-based Maresca style. It's building from the back and diagonally depends on the build up, you move forward. And when if Modric plays as a left winger, when he will have the ball, eventually the philosophy will be that the players will be at a very good time. He will have the ball, he will have to do a minimum of running at that time, until and unless it's a counter attack on the possession based football. When you pin the opponent down, he will have the ball at the right time. That will be the idea. So he will not really require, of course, he will require to dribble, of course, he will require to take on the opponent, but not necessarily he will have to over try, because all of the players would be in advanced position and very integrated. He would probably need one or two crisp passes. You know, the one in the preseason he had with Nico Jackson, when they all moved together, they had a 1-2. You understand that 1-2? If you remember, in the I forgot the game in the preseason, there were some incidents, very good instances. Sorry, I'm saying instances with the crisp 1-2, and we have seen in this season as well. So I think Modric can really develop. So we have to see with other players. Some players are really good, who can do well with the playing with the ball retention. But the overall thing that individual players can do well. As I said, Caicedo will be, for no doubt, will be the standout player. His game will elevate. But for the 11 players to build up as a team collectively and to be successful over 38 games and to be consistent, that will be a huge challenge, I think. Even if you do that for 60, 70 minutes, you might still concede 2 goals. You might still not be able to eventually penetrate or eventually optimize your movement. So I see this very challenging. So Caicedo right now, what I research, Caicedo will be the standout. It will be really helpful for his game, because he's a master of possession based, quick movement, playing in the pockets. Retention, ball retention is second, as I said, to Rodri. Enzo Fernandez game will elevate, and I think Modric might get the best out of Modric.
Yeah, Jerry. Wrapping up, one final thoughts do you have on Enzo Maresca's potential impact at Chelsea?
Yeah. So one thing I would just quickly add before coming to this final impact on his tenure. I mean, his coming time at Chelsea, right? I think Gordon Gallagher, I personally think, is a misfit, I would say, in his system, because Conor Gallagher is known for his pressing, and people sometimes think that this is what it will be required under his its energy. Gallagher is known for high energy style, right? Relentless pressing, right? It's not what, again, you do your research. This is not possession based football. His ability to disrupt opposition play. This is Conor Gallagher. So his attributes are valuable, though, Conor Gallagher, but it doesn't really perfectly align with this possession based football. So Maresca's style of play, the football that he mastered under Pep, he implemented at Leicester City, is heavily is depends heavily on short, precise passing. Right? It depends on short, precise passing, maintaining high ball retention. Is that what we saw Conor Gallagher doing? Is that what he was good at under Pochettino? Did he show something, or all the critics, analysts always said that he don't have that game? When was Conor Gallagher good at retention in short passes, in retaining ball? When? I'm not saying that he can't do, but that was not his strength, right? That was not his strength. Positional issues. The most important thing for Enzo Maresca or possession based football is the ability to be in the position, to have the positions defined, and to be well rehearsed in your position. If anything, Conor Gallagher is known for fluid approach, interchanging position. He's really good at that, Tubeho. So in that category, it's the one name that is a misfit for Enzo Maresca system is Conor Gallagher. Tubeho, what do you have to say on that?
Yeah, Jerry, it remains to be seen because, to be honest, I said it last season. I don't think that Kanagalaga is technically enough to play a professional based football, but only the coach can tell or see what can Kanagalaga offer. Because we saw what Enzo Maresca did at Leicester City. He improved Harry Wings, he improved Didi, and the other one is Dubis Hall. I don't want to butcher his name, but his name is something like Hall at the end, and he was so good. So overall, I think his impact in terms of the midfielders will see a lot of improvement of our midfielder. But with Kanakalaka, it remains to be seen.
Yes. So anyway, so I have given my opinion what I believe in, and yeah. So the expectation and what we should anticipate in the season moving forward, I have all the support. If I don't have the support, I won't spend 1 hour 22 minutes and more, whatever the seconds will be, the final 5 minutes talking on Enzo Maresca. I won't wake up for 6 days, sleeping 2 hours every day. If I don't support Enzo Maresca, I support Chelsea Football Club. Even if you have some people say that if you have, even some die-hard fans say if you have Ole Gunnar or Rafa Benitez or some other manager at United, they might not support them. I said you can have anyone until and unless he's not a bad person or is disrespectful or has done bad thing in the past. You can have anyone. I will support Chelsea Football Club, right? So if I, who is not, you can see my analysis. I have done my analysis. I have given him the credit. You know what I have said. I have given him the credit to be part of Guardiola's system. Everything I have said on him, his time at Leicester, how he has developed, how he is trying to improve his strengths. And my criticism is not even on Maresca, it's the way that he plays and the time he's taking on Chelsea is very difficult to really succeed over here because it's not only Manchester City, it's not only Arsenal, it's not only Liverpool, Manchester United, who are neck to neck with us, in my opinion, have a better structure moving forward. Enzo Maresca has to fight with Manchester United. Will he be able to fight with Manchester United? Only time will tell. Newcastle United, Aston Villa, and others. But I won't say Tottenham, Villa, and all that because they are not really there. They were here this season. But Manchester United, Newcastle, with Arsenal, City, and Liverpool. Manchester United is in a good position right now, in my opinion. And I know people won't agree with that. So the thing is, moving forward, what I'll say, this is a 5-year project. So please be patient. If anything, I will request now. I will request. Please give him time because his job is very difficult. I have already explained because I think it's the most difficult job anyone has to do with Chelsea. Most difficult. I have not even criticized him, if you see. I have said very high on him. Some of the things maybe I have. In fact, it has been a very positive podcast, to be very. I have given a lot of his strengths, his attributes, his personality. Where I was critical was not even on Enzo Maresca, was that he is taking Chelsea. He's joining Chelsea at a very critical time when we have to do a massive rebuild. We have to go to the next phase initially, and the way he plays is good. But according to my analysis, my research, this way has only succeeded under Pep Guardiola. And I don't have to repeat. You have gone through this podcast. So his work, I'm not being critical on him. His work is a lot. I honestly believe he has to do a lot of work. So all power to him. In fact, if anything, I am falling in love with him. I don't want him to fail. If he succeed, he will be one of I will be one of his biggest fan till the day I die. So I want him to succeed, and I'm not saying that he will fail. I think it will be difficult for him to win the league or the Champions League, and in that context, maybe he is the man before the man, if they say, right? He might be successful taking Chelsea to a top four level each year, making them competitive, win some trophies. It could still be a very successful campaign or his tenure, if let's say if he's there for 3 4 years or even 5 years, he finish in the top four maybe 3 4 times, win one FA Cup, one European Cup, be competitive, it could still be seen as a successful season, successful tenure campaign or his project. He can elevate for sure Chelsea to the next level. But will he eventually take us to the promised land? I really have serious questions. And it's not because on Maresca, it's because he's joining Chelsea when things, when the weather, when the competition, when the climate, when the odds are against him. If he can achieve that, then he will be go down as one of the best managers of all time.
Yeah, Jersey, I appreciate it. And I hope everyone who will be watching this video will let us know in the comment section what is their thoughts about what we've been discussing about Enzo Maresca. Also, I will prefer people to like, to subscribe to the Cool Chess podcast, and more content is coming on your way, guys. I'm Charles.